Awesome. And now, so we have started recording, and now a window. You should soon see my slides. Awesome. Okay, so I know that everyone's muted right now, but can you guys tell me if you can see my screen with my slides? Yeah? Awesome. Okay, great. Okay, so we have started recording. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today at Flutter Chicago for a discussion on new things in Dart and Flutter from Google I/O. Where's my thing? I'm going to be sharing my agenda for today. So our agenda for today. First, some housekeeping. We will go over our code of conduct, share some highlights and news from the keynote, also Flutter and Dart news. I would love to hear about all of you about your thoughts on new Flutter and Dart things, what you have found, and how they will impact your work. And lastly, I'd like to try out some networking opportunities for folks. So I will give everyone a prompt and we'll go to breakout rooms if you're interested in joining us for that. And that way you'll have a chance to talk one-on-one with someone else for a few minutes. So here's our code of conduct. The link to our code of conduct was shared in our RSVP to the meetup. So, and everyone here signed the code of conduct, so we're good to go on here. A bit about me. My name is Valeria Duran Ruiz. I am Ecuadorian American. My first language is Spanish. And I'm sorry, I lost my cursor right here. I'm part of Women Tech Makers and Flutteristas. I'm a senior mobile engineer at Tech Violet. We develop mobile first, and we focus on education and health applications. Highlights and news. We have some new mobile products that they showed. The Pixel tablet with a bundled dock, the Pixel 7a, which is a bit more affordable Pixel 7 because it basically has the same chip and stuff to the best of my understanding. And the Pixel Fold, Google's first foldable. I am not planning on getting it, but I am very excited to test on it. So we will see how it goes in terms of getting it or not. But I am so looking forward to see how mobile apps will show up on foldables. Then AI was the main focus of the keynote. Different Googlers shared how AI is integrated into their products. They shared how, so from their different products, they shared how Google Photos with their in-app magic editor, Google Maps with immersive route tours, and Bard. I wanted to show you guys this. So these photos I am sharing because while I was in the Bay Area at Google I/O, I stayed for a few extra days. I devised an experiment. I used Bard to plan a day with my toddler in San Francisco. We did not get to do every single suggestion, but it did work out. I wrote a Dev2 blog post about the experience. And this is a picture of our day at the Fisherman's Wharf. And Bard is now available with no wait list to the public. Flutter and Dart, and now the moment we have all been waiting for. A bird's eye view on what is new for Flutter. We have a big new release 3.10. There's a code lab coming later this week in Google I/O Extended Miami, which I'm looking forward to see what that's about. For Dart, the last release was in January this year. We saw the 2.19 stable and 3.0 alpha releases. Now, what that means for us, the Flutter team released a video. Looks like this. It's the What's New in Dart and Flutter. They released this video for What's New in Dart and Flutter. The video is very informative. Andrew and Michael did a great job. Fully recommend you watch this video. I will take this opportunity to share highlights and my one note on this video. Until the last time I checked, they did not include chapters where you can divide the video into different topics, like they do on YouTube. So I will give you some timestamps for what I found very interesting in this video. So they basically had And here is I am quoting, this graphic source is that YouTube video. They made it, not me, but I tried to make integration of mobile and a laptop. We'll see how that worked out. So for developer experience, new in developer experience, the Flutter 3.10 release includes new widgets and tools like Material 3 is better supported and can generate algorithmic color schemes. For the iOS and macOS platforms, spell checking and editable text widget, and we now have the Cupertino checkbox widget. We can now also do wireless debugging. And now for Dart, there's 3 main improvements that they noted in that video and that seem very interesting. First, 100% sound null save. Awesome for us. Then something else, patterns to write structured data. They include a small workshop at around minute 8 of that video, which I recommend you watch. And we also have class modifiers. This is not something that I think I'm going to use anytime soon, but it's useful for writing large enterprise class APIs. And there is a code lab available for that. We have improvements on dev tools like the memory page. We can do diffs and evaluations while the app is running. And then we can also do screenshots now. And that's declared via package. Now, for breakthrough graphics performance, for graphics, we get shaders around 18 minutes is when they share that. I totally recommend you see that. That's for responsive graphics and animations. This kind of reminds me of the Rive engine. If you guys have used it, I do recommend that you check it out. It seems pretty cool. They have a small workshop at around minute 18, yeah, of that same video. Then also Flutter is replacing Skia, which we've always like talked about. They're replacing Skia with impeller for improved rendering performance. It is production ready for iOS on Flutter 3.10 and on preview for Android is coming soon. Then seamless integration for web, desktop, and mobile. For web, we have Canvas Kit, size reduction, and Flutter content inside HTML elements. There's a demo for element embedding in the Google I/O video for Flutter Web. So not this video, it's a different video. And then for mobile, Dart-only native ads support and Dart interrupt on Android. You can find a Google I/O talk. So again, not the video that I'm talking about, but a different one. It's called Rethinking Dart Interrupt with Android. For more info on this, of course, I'm getting notifications right now. And early to new and emerging architectures that we can keep working on. At around minute 31, they talk about this, and these are news on WebAssembly. And WebAssembly's new garbage collection means that we can now work with our garbage collected Dart language. And that, sorry that I keep looking around, it's just that the cursor is hard to find on here. And those were the highlights that I found. And now from here, I would love to hear your thoughts. And we're very lucky to have Randal here with us today. So not to put you on the spot, but now I will stop presenting for a little bit. And I would love to hear your thoughts. What have you guys seen from different, there wasn't much talk about Flutter specifically in the keynote, but there were definitely videos shared in like the YouTube channels and stuff. So what have you guys found that you think is interesting? And not to put you on the spot, Randal, but I would love to hear from you what your thoughts are.
I was just pausing in case anybody else wanted to jump in, but so I think probably the 2 or 3 biggest things that impact most people, I would think, it is Material 3 finally being mostly fleshed out. Material 3 is a beautiful redesign of Material, and I've always considered Material to be a better design system than the Cupertino side. So it's nice that Google is spending money on UX to be able to really provide a front to back solution on how I do layout. I'm an idiot about layout. So as long as I can go say, oh, you make a bottom nav bar for that kind of stuff. Okay, now I understand why. And that's been really handy. And the other improvements in Flutter are also really nice. Looking forward to using more and more of those features. For me, of course, the biggest change was the introduction of patterns, records, and destructuring for Dart, because this changes the fundamental nature of the language and how you use it. Dart has finally grown up. There have been 3 major 45-degree turns in the path of Dart. One was going to not being just smarter JavaScript, but actually having strong typing. The second was getting the null safety stuff done. And now the third is adding patterns, records, and destructuring, because that puts it in a fair competition with the other languages that are out there, like Kotlin and Rust and things like that, where people have been using this kind of stuff for a long time, and they're all going, Dart's not a real language, doesn't have these. So it's nice now that we've matured. One of the key areas that I think people will find it to be helpful is in taking data that has been traditionally a pile of maps and lists that are untyped and really drilling down through them. And there's 2 specific areas where this comes in. One is decoding JSON, which we always have all these issues of trying to figure out how to take our JSON and turn it into objects. We have lots of utilities for that. We have builders for that. We have strategies for doing that. And we've had to develop those over time, and they were all sort of clunky. But with the new pattern matching and destructuring, they become really simple. There is a code lab, I'm not sure if you mentioned this, but there's a code lab also on patterns and records in the Dart 3 code lab that shows taking a chunk of JSON, parsing it as the usual typeless maps and lists, and then turning that into being extracted in one simple operation, not involving lots of as this and is that you normally would have had to do before this. So that's really nice. The other one that just has been somewhat overlooked in the promotion for patterns and records is this is also the same kind of thing you get back from Firebase. Firebase returns you this pile of maps and lists, and you have to keep going, drilling down, because they're all map of string, comma, dynamic. And every time the word dynamic is there, you've got to say to be able to get further method calls on it, no, this dynamic is actually another map, or this dynamic happens to be a list. And again, the pattern matching stuff is extremely good at simply describing what you believe the data structure to be, and even having a fallback. If it doesn't come back that way, have an alternative or throw an error as you wish. And this is really going to change the way people interact with Firebase as well as with JSON data. So I'm looking forward to a much greater use of patterns and records and destructuring in the future. Also, records in and of themselves, being able to have 2 or 3 pieces of unrelated type data, strongly typed data, being able to be handed around to and from subroutines. Obviously, the 2 return values from a subroutine being the most obvious one, but it can be used in so many other interesting ways. And the fact that it was embedded all the way through the language, including the constructor that you get when you have a literal collection like a list or a map, understands patterns in the embedded for loop and the embedded if statement inside those. So you can, for example, have a set of square brackets, then have a pattern match on a set of values coming back from a data structure that extracts into 3 separate variables that you can then use in each new element of your list. It's pretty incredible that everything all mixes and matches correctly for all that. The team really hit one out of the ballpark on this one. It's definitely good to have seen all that. That's my 2-minute summary. I can't hear you. It's not a real call until somebody says you're muted.
Yes. You would think that it wouldn't happen anymore at 2023, but I think it's going to keep happening until forever. You know what? We do have a question, and I would love to send it to you because very interesting. So Mark says, can the Go programming language be used with Flutter?
Only indirectly. The easiest way to use that is to consider that to be the server-side language that you're hitting with REST APIs. Your Go code's running somewhere else. As far as embedding Go directly in a like a iOS or Android program, probably not. That's still something that would be off in the distance. There are ways to do that with FFI. You can get to like a Go library that is presenting a C-style interface with the new FFI stuff, especially the Penguin stuff, where they write most of the FFI for you. So that's available. That always has been available, but it's getting better as of the recent releases. I think that was in Flutter Forward that Penguin was announced, which is the structure. They call it something else in this presentation. It was FFI something, FFI, I can't remember, but the FFI has gotten far better now in terms of not having to even write any Android or iOS specific code for a plugin, as long as it complies with standard C calling bindings. Now you can be pure Dart and go all the way to your libraries, which is a big plus.
And just to reiterate, that is via a package, right? Or
the package that is what do you mean that?
To be able to, like, if we wanted to use Go indirectly.
There's packages for embedding. I think that's part of where that is, but it's either package FFI. I think that'll lead you to the right places. There might be some tooling involved, and I can't remember where all that is. I have not personally done that yet. I've only watched it on TV, so I don't know.
Yeah, I've never used Go in a Flutter app, so familiar with the fact that it's a programming language and it has a very cute what is it, like a beaver, is it? The little rodent that they have, and that's about how much I have used Go, to be honest with you.
People ask a lot about it because here's Google having created Go for their systems administration server language. And then Google created Dart, and they go, why wasn't Dart Go? Why are there still two languages, both Go and Dart? And so that question does come up a lot in that context. Well, the thing was, Go had a particular set of strategies. The Flutter team needed something different out of Dart than Go could ever provide. And even though they were all under the same house, it still was easier to manipulate Dart to be what they needed it for, to do the better JavaScript tactic that was originally taken with Dart, and then Dart embedded in web clients, web browsers.
Nice. Yeah, and it's not the same thing at all, but it reminds me of the conversation around Skia, because Skia was just, I don't know, a big conversation that was the rendering that we used for Flutter. And now they are using impeller, but that's making apps a lot, that's going towards better rendering, great graphics and stuff like that. And again, like I mentioned before, and I know this is like the showy part, but the shaders in the video, and again, they have a little, and I want to tell you, around minute 18, they have like a small code lab. It's quite short. Totally recommend that you watch it because it's really, really cool. If you guys haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, so Skia was a quick and dirty way of getting instructions, high-level programming steps turned into pixels. And that was nice. It was already there. It was part of the Chrome engine. They could borrow it because they just got to borrow it from the guys down the hall, which is always nice. When Google's developing something, they can reuse their own, use their own dog food, right? Eat their own dog food. But Skia, as it has existed, has only been about half used, which means that you're shipping twice as much binary as you need to. And so part of the reason for impeller was the compelling concern that Skia's way of starting up shaders wasn't very compatible with the way iOS wanted to do it. And so that was the original drive for impeller. But another thing that's come out of the impeller movement is that they've been able to slowly turn off item by item of things they don't need in Skia. And in fact, the current loadout is in fact a abbreviated Skia with impeller. So that has changed the way apps are. This is why web now loads half the size that it used to load. Is because they aren't converting all of Skia plus, not yet impeller, but all of Skia into WASM. They're now just converting about half of Skia into WASM because they've identified the subset of Skia that is absolutely necessary remaining. And that's really helped web startup time. It's got cut in half for a Hello World program now, which is really nice.
Nice. I remember from the video there, they mentioned too that for the iOS and Mac platforms, and I don't remember like exactly how, but I wonder if impeller is how they did it, that they can get, was it the build context or something like that? That's how they're getting a better, making them more high fidelity, specifically for iOS and Mac. And I wonder if that is talking about the rendering and therefore possible because of impeller.
Yeah, impeller is opening up new APIs that can interface to the lowest levels of Flutter. And so there are going to be more opportunities there to do like the scenes of impeller, which as you suggested earlier, was like Rive in the sense that you can lay out essentially a 3D model and have it render it, have it figure out where things go. And that probably wouldn't have been directly possible with Skia, although I know Simon Lightfoot would disagree since he's been building 3D things using the 2D rendering engine already. But yeah, that's that. You know, you didn't introduce me, actually. Probably people are wondering on this call that don't know me already. I'm a Google developer expert. So I'm one of the 11 people in the United States that is Dart and Flutter certified for Google. And so I spend a lot of my day researching what's changing in Dart and Flutter and answering questions on all the socials like Stack Overflow and Discord and Reddit and the Slacks for Dart and Flutter.
Thank you for that intro, Randall. By the way, where can folks find you? Like, would you like to share your username or anything like that so folks can find
you? Go to any one of the things I just mentioned and ask a question. You'll probably have an answer from me.
That's actually true. When I've gone to Stack Overflow, and also there's this Slack channel, every single time Randall's super helpful.
Yeah, flutter.dev/community has the links to all the things I just mentioned. And that's the easiest way to find them, which is where you're going to find lots and lots of, I like to call it smarter people with a little registered trademark after that, of which I may be only one of them. Sometimes I defer it to the other smarter people when I can't answer. But yeah, but that's, yeah, I spend more time than I probably should, but I'm spending probably 1 to 2 hours a day answering questions for people, just as part of my natural desire to do that. But also because to be a Google developer expert, it's publish or perish. I do need to keep making sure that I'm visible and producing videos. I have a Dart and Flutter channel that I've covered some recent topics. I'm going to be covering a bunch of Dart 3 topics coming up soon. I'll paste the link to that in the chat here so that people can go find that. It's something I would do anyway, which is why the GDE title only just means, hey, you were already doing that. So I do appreciate that Google has recognized me as one of the elite. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm pretty sure everyone knows, but this call is being recorded and it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. And I will be sharing all the links that we've talked about, including Randal's YouTube channel. So you can find him later too. So yeah, we're very, very lucky that Randal's here with us to answer also any questions. And for folks, I don't mean to call anybody out, but I know that some folks have joined a little bit later. Do you have any questions that you would like to share, or any thoughts on what's new with Flutter? How is your workflow going to be affected?
No questions here. Sorry, I'm a little late.
Welcome, Byron. All right, so now we're going to go into our next part of the presentation. And again, this will be on the Flutter Chicago's YouTube channel. Once that is available online, I will share it in the meetup, like the event for today, in the comments. I will share the link on there, and then also on my Twitter if you follow me on Twitter. If not, it's totally fine. And I will, again, share all the links that we've talked about, and like code labs and all that sort of stuff. And I will also include the timestamps that I talked about for the video, because I recommend it. Very, very good. They go over everything, but it doesn't have chapters. So that way you can tell what they're talking about in each part of the video. And share window. And so, as I had mentioned earlier, so something that has come up is that it would be really nice for folks to be able to network while we do meetups. And we're trying to figure out how to do that while we do them still online. So and for this case, I thought, so I'm going to stop recording now. And thank you so much for coming, by the way, before we end the recording. And basically what we're going to be doing is, okay, so I'm still recording for a second more. If you would like to stick around for breakout sessions so that you guys can talk to each other, please do. If not, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. Okay, so now I'm going to stop recording. Stop recording.